Straight ahead on 12 News, a business boost.
If those are all filled up, that's about a 10% increase in Osceo's population.
The multi-million-dollar project that could literally change the face of the city. Then a place in Golden Valley where you'll find a whole lot of orange. But first, what new numbers reveal about high school athletes and concussions? 12 News starts right now. Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining us. For the first time, Minnesota has released data on high school athletes and concussions.
The numbers show nearly 3,000 teen athletes suffered a brain injury last year. Reporter Shannon Slatton explains how schools are now paying more attention to preventing concussions.
Anytime there's a big hit, the stands want to say, ooh, that was a great hit.
The big hits that cause the crowd to cheer are now something football coaches want to avoid.
Anytime that you have those huge collisions, that's going to allow the opportunity for the brain to move around.
Coach Willie Howard at Cooper High School says there's more awareness of concussions than ever before.
The more information that we're getting about concussions is just drawing more awareness to us as coaches.
New numbers out from the Minnesota Department of Health only increase that awareness.
Sports-related concussions are a significant source of youth head injuries in our state.
There's one concussion for every 100 high school athletes. Football and boys and girls hockey had the highest concussion rates. And for sports with both male and female teams, female athletes had higher rates for concussions.
The important thing is be attentive to this. Don't take it lightly. Most resolve typically, so don't be afraid, but you need to get it managed appropriately.
However, the report found that 95% of students with concussions recovered within 2 weeks.
We're seeing on the field a better attention to concussions, which is what was hoped for.
At Cooper High School, that means all athletes get a baseline test before the season begins. And coaches have changed the way kids practice.
Less contact in practice, those kind of things, trying to use our heads on, do we really need to hit as often as we hit?
Sideline staff are now more knowledgeable about concussions, knowing they are doing their best to prevent the collisions they can.
That's what we're going to continue to push, is being safe, being healthy, and do things the right way.
Athletes in any sport at Cooper are being encouraged to play hard but stay in control while they're out on the field. And Mike and Alex, the study also brought up some numbers, but it brought up questions too. For example, sophomores had the highest concussion rates compared to other age groups, but we don't know if that's because there's more sophomores playing sports or they're smaller than their upperclassmen. So we'll see looking down the road.
This is the first time they've had concrete numbers up until now. Just estimates or guesses?
Yeah, they have 36 schools they looked at in the metro area. Next year, they hope to increase that number, that survey sampling, with schools on the outstate in Minnesota, too.
All right, Jen, thank you
Thanks,
very
Jen.
much. Well, no more wondering whether your local Home Depot was part of a large data breach. Security experts say it most likely was. Credit card data and zip codes from virtually every Home Depot store in the country have shown up on cybercrime sites. While Home Depot has yet to confirm the breach, the company did assure customers that they won't be liable for any fraudulent charges and will be offered free identity protection services. Stolen credit card information usually has a limited time window for thieves. As word gets out, banks start canceling cards and they become nearly worthless on the black market. A project years in the making celebrates its grand opening tonight.
It is a $25 million development in downtown Osseo that literally could change the face of the city.
1,080 square feet.
Kim Martinson will gladly show you one of the new apartments at Osseo's 5 Central.
This one is facing City Hall.
There's just not that many units left to show.
Hopefully in the next week will be 90.
Nearly 90% occupied since opening the doors in July on this 71-unit building. Construction is underway on Phase 2, which will add another 69 units.
If those are all filled up, that's about a 10% increase in Osceo's population. So this is really a big deal for us and for a lot of our businesses too.
In a city with less than 2,500 residents, the influx of a couple hundred people generates demand for new businesses and changes the complexion of the population.
Osseo really is actually kind of a tale of two sides. We have a lot of the kind of older people who have lived here for 30, 40, 50, sometimes 60 years who have never moved from Osseo. And then we also have a large group of those smaller, younger families.
With Target's new northern campus not far away, 5 Central is already seeing a wide range of tenants.
We have a great group, and it goes from young professionals, some families, to the retirees that owned homes, sold them, and want the ease-free living.
As apartments and Central Avenue businesses fill in, this city is well positioned for growth.
We're bringing in a lot of different people, and the city's very excited about it.
Phase 2 of 5 Central with 69 apartment units will open in April.
A road closure in Plymouth has been delayed due to unexpected equipment issues. County Road 47 was supposed to close Tuesday between Yucca and Teakwood Lanes. MnDOT has pushed the closure back to Sunday at 5 p.m. County Road 47 will then remain closed until mid-October. During that time, the I-494 bridge spanning the road will be widened. The work is part of the 494 third lane project.
Commercial drivers are required to pass a physical exam to drive, but due to a new federal requirement, those drivers now have to go to specially licensed doctors.
It used to be that any provider could do it. Now, because of the different classes and testing that you have to do beyond and above everything else that we're required to have from a licensure standpoint, a lot fewer individuals have this license.
Dr. Brian Nelson from the Hennepin County Medical Center Clinic in Golden Valley is the lone physician in the HCMC system with this license. He began providing the physical for commercial drivers since mid-August. The Department of Transportation exam determines whether drivers have high blood pressure, diabetes, heart disease, sleep apnea, and good vision. Doctors say the exam requirement is part of a law that was passed during the Clinton administration but just went into effect on May 21st. They could give you the creeps, yes, but they are also crucial for your garden. Up next, we're in the garden for a close-up look at worms.
Then in sports, the Wayzata boys soccer team is on a roll heading into conference play. We catch up with them a little bit later.
But first, a hint of fall. Friday, we may struggle to reach 70.
It's not too late to get the most out of your garden.
That's right. Reporter Sonia Goins goes into the garden to show us how worm castings can benefit your crops and plants.
Worm casting is about as good as it gets.
This warehouse in New Hope is home to Worm Farms of Minnesota.
This is ready-made fertilizer for the plant.
Jerry Snyder and Alan Johnson started the company in 2012.
See, the worms have made it through.
Making worm castings or manure is a long and tedious process.
Grab a bucket.
The night crawlers are fed and then left to do their business. After about a week, the waste product is separated.
You would have castings here.
Worm castings are packed with minerals that are good for plant growth.
The plant can take the nutrients directly from the worm castings.
The fertilizer will also extract bad bacteria from soil, protecting plants from harmful diseases.
Vegetables will produce 15 to 50% more bigger and tastier product.
Now, Worm Farms of Minnesota is not only helping gardens to grow, they're also helping ex-convicts to sow seeds of success.
So this will give them a job, minimal pay.
The company was started with the sole purpose of helping ex-offenders.
I'm a Christian, and the Bible says that whatever you do for the least of these people, you do for me.
So far, they've hired one person.
It felt like the right thing to do.
In New Hope, Sonia Goins, 12 News.
They recommend using worm castings in your garden every 2 months, and you can find Worm Farm products at the Maple Grove, New Hope, and Golden Valley farmers markets. Coming up, a good reason to go orange.
But first in sports, Park Center's football team sails along. John Jacobson has more on the Pirates' hot start when we come back. John Jacobson with sports, and just a few games into the soccer season, and one local team, Wayzata, yet to see a loss.
They're playing very well. Yeah, a good mix of young talent, returning players, and so far so good. School has just started, but it's already been a very good season for the Wayzata boys soccer team. The Trojans enter Thursday's game against Edina with a perfect 5-0 mark, and they've played some pretty decent opponents too, including section foes St. Louis Park and Minneapolis South. They're happy with how things are going.
We're finishing pretty well. We've had a lot of goals this season already, and if we keep putting them in, then the results will come. Well, you know, I was looking at the preseason rankings, and we weren't even in the top 10, so I think it's nice that we're proving people wrong, and we've had a really good start to the season.
Tonight's game against Edina is the start of Lake Conference play for the Trojans, and a good record will be put to the test. Lake teams are combined 17, 4, and 2 so far. Playing those teams will get Wayzata ready for playoff time.
Playing better opponents will make us play better and definitely, bring us to a next level, hopefully, to put into our post game.
For us here, it's a process, and you've definitely hit it on the head. We want to be peaking come section time. We feel we've got a very difficult section to get through with St. Louis Park, the Minneapolis schools, Armstrong, Hopkins, Roseville. Very tough section, so we want to be peaking then, but we're definitely happy with how we started.
After the Edina match, the Trojans are at Hopkins next Tuesday. Park Center's football team is off to its best start in a long time. The Pirates are 2-0 for the first time since 1996. And they'll take aim at a 3-0 mark when they host Blake Friday. Park Center won a back-and-forth contest at Richfield in their season opener, then throttled Bloomington Kennedy last week 42-7. It's been a lot of fun, but the guys also know there's still plenty of season left.
We're riding the excitement of winning games and knowing that we can win more games, but at the same time we want to stay focused and hungry and go out in every practice assuming that we need to get better. And
I was just telling them we're not as good as we think we are. We're not as bad as we were. So we just got to take one game at a time, one play at a time, and just build on what we know we can accomplish, and we're still making too many mistakes.
Park Center is playing a modified Northwest Suburban Conference schedule this year, so they won't play the top teams in their division, Maple Grove, Osseo, and Totino Grace. Kickoff is at 5 o'clock Friday at Park Center as they host Blake. In addition to Park Center's games with the Bears, here's a look at where the other local teams are playing Friday night. Maple Grove hosts Armstrong in Champlin Park. Is at Centennial in Northwest Suburban Conference play. In non-conference games, Osseo has a tough road game at Minnetonka, while Hopkins is at Totino Grace. In a game you can see live here Friday night on Channel 12. Wayzata hosts Egan and the Trojans home opener. In the Metro West, Cooper is at Bloomington Kennedy, while Benilde St. Margaret's goes to Chaska. Also Friday, Brooklyn Center travels to Columbia Heights. Breck is at home to face New Life Academy. Providence meets Minnehaha Academy in an IMAC conference game at Hamlin. And finally, West Lutheran is at Gibbon, Fairfax, Winthrop. Though it's technically not fall for a couple of weeks yet, post-Labor Day feels like fall, and it's a great time for catching fish. Terry Tuma explains why in this week's Channel 12 Fishing Tip.
Well, folks, I guess this is the last segment of the open water period talking about fishing in general, but just briefly, let's just summarize fall fishing. One of the best times of the year. In fact, I just talked to a tournament angler yesterday, and we talked about fall fishing. What a time frame to catch numbers of fish, big fish. That's going to relate to pike, walleyes, bass, smallmouth, largemouth, and crappie. Sometimes bluegills can be a little bit more difficult, but also very, very good. Generally speaking, early fall, shallow, then moving to deeper water, but extremely catchable. And green weeds are going to be a locational factor for a lot of these fish. Use your various methods of catching these fish. You're going to be very successful. Part of the reason it's so successful, less fishing pressure, less boating pressure, ample food sources, and these fish are feeding heavily. In fact, you can have a real good bite, especially for a lot of species of fish, throughout a whole given day, not just early morning, late evening hours, or at night. Hopefully that you picked up a lot of tips this year to help you increase your success, that you really are enjoying your time on the water, and we'll be back in December talking about ice fishing with lots of new tips. Ice fishing extremely popular. It's called the Gold Rush in Minnesota and Wisconsin right now, so make sure you tune in. On behalf of Channel 12, thank you for participating, and we'll see you in December, and have a great fall season.
Thanks, Terry, for all this help. And I don't want to hear about December yet.
Not ready to hear that.
You'll be ice fishing before you know it.
Thanks, John. In November, voters will choose between a 3-term incumbent and a former Hennepin County DFL chairperson as they decide a local congressional race.
And today we hear from Democrat Sharon Sund and Republican Eric Paulson as they meet in the 3rd Congressional District.
Hello, I am Sharon Sund, and I am running for Congress to bring balance to Washington for the people of the 3rd Congressional District. I am running to make sure every voice counts in the development of federal policies and legislation that affect our daily lives. I have made 9 commitments that tell you where I stand on issues, and you can count on me to keep these commitments. For example, I am committed to fighting for investments in early childhood family education, to making college and trade school affordable, and to meeting the funding obligations for special education. I'd appreciate your vote on November 4th.
Hi, I'm Eric Paulson, and it's an honor to represent Minnesota's 3rd Congressional District. Washington has been on the wrong track for far too long, and that's why I'm working on bipartisan solutions important to our community. We need a healthier economy. Unemployment is still too high, and there are too many people who are working part-time who would prefer to work full-time. One of the best ways we can get our economy moving again is by getting our country's fiscal house in order and fixing a broken tax code. The current tax code is too complex, too costly, and takes too much time to comply with. I'm also working hard to repeal the medical device tax, which is costing Minnesota jobs and threatening a vibrant industry right here in Minnesota. These are the issues that I'm working on. I hope I will continue to earn your support, and I will continue working hard for you to get things done.
And on Friday, we'll start our look at local candidates running for the State House. You can also find all the candidate profiles on our website through Election Day. Just go to 12.tv. It's not hunting season yet, but there's another reason to wear orange.
We're back in just a moment. You might start seeing a lot of orange this month, but we're not talking about construction cones, the fall colors, or even deer hunting.
No, the nonprofit organization Second Harvest Heartland wants people to wear orange as part of Hunger Action Month. Some of the volunteers at the Golden Valley location sported their fall colors today while packing food for those in need. The bright colors are meant to signify the prevalence of hunger in our communities.
Hunger has no season. Hunger is here every day. And when you think of 10% of our population being hungry every day, that's a huge number of people. That's 600,000 people within Wisconsin and Minnesota.
For every hour that people volunteer at Second Harvest Heartland this month, Bremer Bank will donate $5 up to a total of $50,000. So another reason to, give them a helping hand.
Wear orange and help them out. That's right.
That's it for now. Thanks so much for joining us, everyone.
We'll see you back here at 4 o'clock. Community Corner is coming up next.